The main screen of the Thunder flickered with explosions as another shot passed harmlessly through empty space. Captain Miller gripped his chair's armrests, knuckles white, watching the massive alien warship drift closer. His crew worked quietly at their stations, their faces lit by the red emergency lights. Another miss from the humans. The alien transmission crackled through the bridge speakers. Their laughter felt like needles in Miller's ears. Their targeting systems must have been built by children. The Thunder shuddered as enemy fire scraped their shields. Miller glanced at his weapons officer, Tom, who kept his eyes fixed on his console, fingers dancing across the controls. Another shot fired from their main guns, missing the alien ship by what looked like a mile. More laughter filled the channel. The alien ships, sleek and purple-black against the stars, moved with perfect precision. Their formation looked like a deadly dance, each ship exactly where it needed to be. The Dominion, as they called themselves, had mastered space combat through their advanced technology. Their ships moved and fired as one, guided by artificial intelligence that could calculate 1,000 factors in the blink of an eye. Look at them scatter. The alien commander's voice dripped with mockery, like insects trying to fight the wind. The mining colony hung behind the Thunder, its habitat domes glinting in the light of the system's red dwarf star. 3,000 civilians waited inside, watching humanity's first major space battle through whatever sensors they had. Miller thought about his orders, sealed in quantum-encrypted data packets. He thought about the months of preparation, the endless drills, the complaints from his gunners who had to unlearn everything they knew about aiming. Another shot from the Thunder. Another miss. The Dominion fleet spread out, pressing their advantage. Their ships moved faster now, more aggressive. Why stay in defensive formation against an enemy who couldn't even shoot straight? "Your species is pathetic," the alien commander broadcast. "We expected more from beings who managed to reach the stars. Surrender now, and we might find a use for you as servants." Miller tapped a hidden command into his chair's console. A short message flashed on every human crew member's personal screen. "Hold steady. Pattern Sigma in effect." Tom's next shot went wide again, creating a small debris field from a nearby asteroid. The explosion looked random, chaotic, just like all their other misses. The Dominion ships didn't even bother to dodge anymore. The battle had been raging for 30 minutes. The human fleet, if you could call 5 ships a fleet, had fired over 200 shots. They had scored exactly 0 direct hits. The Dominion's artificial targeting systems were logging every miss, calculating patterns, predicting where the humans would shoot next. Their computers found no logic, no strategy, just the random flailing of primitive weapons. The computers were wrong. Miller watched another shot miss, the explosion adding more debris to space around them. He felt the familiar ache in his jaw from clenching his teeth. Every instinct screamed at him to fight back properly, to show these arrogant aliens what humans could really do. But that wasn't the plan. "Your time is up, humans," the alien commander announced. "We tire of this game. Prepare to be boarded." The Dominion mothership moved forward, its massive form eclipsing the distant star. 4 smaller ships flanked it, weapons charged, their formation spreading wider to surround the human vessels. They weren't being cautious anymore. Why should they be? Their enemies couldn't hit the broadside of a space station. Miller allowed himself a small smile. He opened a channel to his fleet, voice steady despite the tension coiling in his chest. "All ships, maintain current positions. Continue firing pattern Sigma." He paused, watching the alien ships slide perfectly into place. And remember what the history books taught us. Sometimes the best victory starts with looking like you're going to lose. 6 months earlier, Dr. Emma Walker stood before the Earth Defense Council, her hand steady as she pointed to the holographic display. The alien fleet's approach played out in glowing dots above the conference table, their trajectory unmistakable. Earth had only months to prepare. "They're coming, and they're not here to make friends," she said, her voice firm. "But we found something interesting in their transmissions, something we can use." The council members leaned forward, their faces lit by the soft blue glow of the hologram. Admiral Rogers, his gray hair matching his uniform, spoke first. "What have you found, Doctor?" Emma tapped her tablet, and new images appeared. Alien ship schematics floated in the air, their weapon systems highlighted in red. The Dominion's entire military strategy relies on artificial intelligence. Their targeting systems, their maneuvers, even their battle plans, all controlled by computers. "That's not surprising," Rogers said. "Most advanced civilizations would do the same." Emma smiled. "Yes, but here's the thing. They've never fought anyone who doesn't." She brought up video feeds of previous Dominion battles. "Look at their tactics. They always fight the same way because they've only ever fought enemies who use similar technology. Their AI expects perfect targeting, perfect formations, perfect logic." She paused the footage. "They don't understand imperfection. And that's their weakness." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Rogers leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful look crossing his face. "You want us to fight badly on purpose. I want us to fight exactly as they don't expect," Emma corrected. "Every missed shot will be precisely calculated. Every retreat will leave them exactly where we want them. We'll turn their greatest strength into their greatest weakness." The training began the next day. Gunners who had spent years learning to hit their targets now had to learn to miss them, but miss them perfectly. The simulation rooms ran day and night. Crew members practiced complex patterns of seemingly random fire, each shot designed to look like a mistake while actually serving a purpose. Tom, the Thunder's future weapons officer, threw his helmet across the simulator room in frustration. "This feels wrong," he told Emma. "Everything I've ever learned about combat." "Forget what you've learned," Emma said, picking up his helmet. "Think about chess. Sometimes you sacrifice a piece not because you have to, but because you want your opponent to think they're winning." Weeks passed. The crews learned to fight like they didn't know how to fight. Ships practiced formations that looked scattered but followed hidden patterns. Every mistake was carefully crafted, every weakness deliberately designed. In his office, Miller watched the training footage. His new command, the Thunder, was still being fitted with its inferior weapon systems, guns that could hit any target, but were being modified to look like they couldn't. "It goes against every military principle," Rogers told him during the final briefing. "Sun Tzu said to appear weak when you are strong, but this is different. We're not just appearing weak. We're turning weakness itself into a weapon." Miller nodded, understanding the weight of what they were about to attempt. "The best trap isn't just hidden," he said. "It's the one your enemy thinks they're too smart to fall for." The day before the Dominion's arrival, Miller stood on the Thunder's bridge for the first time. His crew was ready. Their guns were ready. Every system was calibrated to fail in exactly the right way. Emma's voice came through his personal communicator one last time. "Remember, Captain, when they laugh at us, when they mock us, when they think we're primitives who can barely aim, that's when we'll know our real target practice is about to begin." Back in the present battle, the Dominion ships moved closer to the Thunder, their purple-black hulls reflecting the distant starlight. Miller watched as another carefully planned miss exploded behind the alien formation. His crew's timing was perfect, each failure exactly as practiced. The alien commander's voice filled the bridge again. "Your species is even more primitive than we thought. Do you know that our youngest pilots could shoot better than this?" Tom's fingers danced across his console, sending another shot wide of its mark. To the aliens, it looked like the frustrated action of an incompetent gunner. In reality, every movement was calculated to the millimeter. The explosion created a small field of charged particles that would be useful later. The Thunder's communication officer, Lisa, worked at her station quietly. Her real job wasn't to miss messages, but to make sure their encrypted signals to other Earth ships looked like random space noise to alien sensors. Under the cover of apparent radio chaos, humanity's vessels were talking constantly, coordinating their perfect imperfection. Look at them scatter. The alien commander laughed as another human ship appeared to panic and retreat. They run like frightened animals. Their weapons are as weak as their spirits. Miller pressed a hidden button on his chair, sending a coded message to his fleet. The response came back instantly on his private screen. All ships reported their debris fields were almost in position. Every missed shot had left behind clouds of particles, pieces of metal, and electromagnetic disturbance, forming an invisible maze in space. The Dominion mothership launched smaller fighter craft now. They moved with deadly grace, their formations perfect, their angles precise. Their targeting computers adjusted automatically for every variable they could detect. But they couldn't detect the plan behind humanity's apparent chaos. Your ships waste so much energy with random movement, the alien commander taunted. Your weapons spray fire like water from a broken pipe. How did creatures like you ever reach space? Tom fired again, his shot going wide but leaving behind another carefully placed disturbance in space. Miller watched the tactical display where only his crew could see it. The real pattern was emerging. A complex web of debris and energy fields that would soon trap the overconfident alien fleet. A younger alien voice cut through the channel. "Commander, should we even bother with evasive maneuvers? Their targeting is so poor, we could probably fly straight at them." "Save your engine power," the commander replied. "These humans couldn't hit a star at point-blank range. Press forward. Let's end this embarrassment to space combat." The Dominion fleet moved exactly as predicted. Their perfect formation, guided by their perfect computers, followed the perfect logic of battle. They had no way of knowing that every human mistake was deliberate, every retreat planned, every missed shot precisely targeted. Miller thought about the months of training, the endless hours in simulators, the frustration of learning to miss on purpose. His gunners had mastered the art of calculated failure, turning their ship's apparent weakness into their greatest strength. The alien ships drew closer, spreading out to surround the human fleet. Their confidence had made them bold, their advanced technology had made them predictable. They saw only what their computers told them. That the humans were incompetent, their attacks random, their defense scattered. They didn't see the trap until they were already inside it. Miller allowed himself a small smile as he checked the final positioning. Everything was ready. The web of debris and energy fields was complete, invisible to eyes that only looked for perfect patterns. He opened a secure channel to his fleet and spoke just 2 words. Last phase. The time for appearing weak was almost over. More Earth ships appeared from behind the mining colony's moon. They'd moved in what looked like complete disorder, their engines flaring at odd angles. To the Dominion's computers, it appeared as if the humans were simply throwing more incompetent ships into the battle. Reinforcements, or more targets. The alien commander's laughter echoed through the command channel. "Spread out, take them all. These primitives can barely fly straight, let alone fight." Miller watched as the Dominion fleet split apart, each ship chasing what they thought were easy prey. Their perfect formation broke into smaller groups, each one moving exactly as the humans had predicted they would. The alien ships' eye-targeting systems followed textbook pursuit patterns, unable to see that their prey's clumsy movements were anything but random. Tom fired another shot that swept past an alien cruiser. The miss created a new cloud of charged particles, connecting with the previous pattern of debris like an invisible spider web. On Miller's tactical display, the true battlefield was taking shape, a complex maze of overlapping fields and disturbances that the alien sensors registered only as battle damage. "Their new ships are even worse," an alien officer reported with glee. "This one can't even keep its engine output steady. Watch it wobble." The wobbling ship was the Defiant, and its irregular movements were perfectly timed. Each thrust and spin left behind a trail of electromagnetic interference, adding another strand to humanity's invisible web. The alien ships followed eagerly, their AIs calculating the most efficient paths to catch such easy targets. Through his console, Miller received another coded update. The Defiant's captain reported that the aliens had taken the bait completely. 3 Dominion destroyers had moved into the first trigger zone, their sensors blind to the real danger surrounding them. "Look how they run from us," the alien commander broadcast. "Like small fish scattering before hunters. Their technology is as primitive as their tactics." More human ships arrived, each one appearing to flee in panic. The Dominion fleet spread thinner and thinner, each ship confident in its superior technology. Their formation was now completely broken, every vessel positioned exactly where the humans wanted them. Lisa's fingers flew across her communication panel, maintaining the illusion of panicked radio traffic while coordinating the final decisions. Every human ship knew its role in the coming trap. Every apparent retreat was leading the aliens deeper into the web. The Dominion mothership moved forward, its massive bulk cutting through space like a blade. Its commander was eager to claim victory over such an obviously inferior enemy. The alien ship's targeting computers continued to log each human miss, building a database of incompetence that blinded them to the truth. Miller checked his tactical display one last time. The web was complete. Layers of debris, energy fields, and electromagnetic disturbance filled the space around them, invisible to eyes that only looked for perfect patterns. The Dominion ships had positioned themselves perfectly, not in their own perfect formation, but in humanity's perfect trap. "This battle is beneath us," the alien commander declared. "We should just send in our automated drones to clean up this mess." Tom's hands hovered over his console, ready for the real attack. Every gunner in the human fleet waited at their stations, their weapons finally prepared to show their true accuracy. The moment was almost here. Miller sent one final coded message to his fleet. "Remember why we train to miss. Remember why we learn to look weak. And remember what happens to those who think technology alone makes them superior." The trap was set. The web was ready. And the Dominion was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their guns. It was their ability to think in ways that no artificial intelligence could predict. Miller's voice cut through the silence on the Thunder's bridge. "Remember Thermopylae." The coded signal spread across the human fleet, and in an instant, everything changed. The Dominion commander was in the middle of another taunt when the first real shot hit. The blast struck their leftmost destroyer exactly where its shields were weakest. Before the aliens could react, 3 more shots hit 3 more targets. Perfect shots through gaps that hadn't existed minutes ago. "What?" The alien commander's voice lost its mocking tone. How did they suddenly? More shots fired. Every human gun that had been missing now struck with deadly accuracy. The aliens tried to return to their standard formation, but the space around them had changed. The debris fields from hundreds of missed shots had created a maze of blind spots and interference patterns. "Our sensors are having trouble," an alien officer reported, panic creeping into their voice. "The interference patterns, they're everywhere. They're not random at all." The Dominion ships tried to maneuver, but their perfect AI-driven patterns now worked against them. Every path they calculated led them into another prepared trap. The debris clouds turned their precise movements into predictable targets. "Impossible," the alien commander shouted as another shot slipped through their defenses. Their targeting systems were primitive. "We saw them miss hundreds of times." Miller watched as the battle plan they had practiced for months unfolded perfectly. The Dominion ships, spread too thin and caught in humanity's web, couldn't support each other. Their advanced targeting systems, confused by the carefully placed interference, couldn't find clean shots through the chaos. Tom's fingers danced across his console, but now each movement ended with a direct hit. The gunner's face showed grim satisfaction as months of practicing calculated misses turned into perfectly aimed shots. The Thunder's weapons sang with precision, striking weak points that had been mapped out by those very same stray shots. "Return to formation," the alien commander ordered, but it was too late. The space between Dominion ships had become a killing ground of overlapping fields and deadly crossfire. Their attempts to regroup only pushed them deeper into prepared kill zones. Lisa reported from her station. Sir, they're trying to calculate safe paths through the debris, but their computers can't process our pattern. It looks too random to their systems. The Dominion mothership turned, attempting to provide cover for its scattered fleet, but this too had been anticipated. The human ships moved in precise formations that looked chaotic to alien eyes, but were practiced to perfection. Each movement herded the enemy exactly where they wanted them. Their shots. The alien commander's voice was quiet now. They weren't missing at all, were they? Miller allowed himself a small smile as he watched the Dominion fleet's perfect formation dissolve into chaos. Their superior technology, designed to fight enemies like themselves, couldn't adapt to humanity's planned imperfection. All ships, execute final pattern, Miller ordered. The human fleet moved as one, their apparently random positions revealing themselves as a perfect firing solution. Every debris field, every energy distortion, every piece of scattered material now served its true purpose, forcing the enemy exactly where human gunners wanted them. The trap closed like a fist. The Dominion ships, bunched together by their own predictable programming, found themselves surrounded by an enemy they had fatally underestimated. Their advanced targeting computers, overwhelmed by the complexity of humanity's planned chaos, could no longer calculate safe solutions. Miller opened a channel to the alien commander. You were right about one thing, he said calmly. We're not like you. And that's exactly why you're about to lose. The Dominion fleet hung motionless in space, caught in a web of their own assumptions. Their perfect formations had become perfect targets. Every attempt to escape led them into another prepared killing zone. Every evasive maneuver predicted and countered before it began. Hold position, Miller commanded his fleet. The human ships maintained their firing solutions, weapons ready but waiting. They had the aliens exactly where they wanted them, trapped in a battlefield that looked like chaos, but was actually a carefully crafted cage. The alien commander's voice came through, different now. Gone was the mockery, replaced by something close to awe. Your misses, they were planned. All of them. Every single shot. Every single one, Miller confirmed. As if to demonstrate, Tom fired a shot that threaded through an impossibly small gap in the debris field, striking an alien destroyer's engine housing. The hit was perfect, disabling the ship without destroying it. But our sensors showed your targeting systems were primitive, another alien officer protested. Our computers analyzed hundreds of failed shots. Miller watched as the realization spread through the enemy fleet. Their advanced AI systems, programmed to expect perfect logic and perfect patterns, had been defeated by humanity's ability to plan imperfection. Every missed shot had been a builder, every failed attack a carefully placed stone in an invisible wall. The Dominion mothership tried one last desperate maneuver. Its engines flared as it attempted to push through what looked like a gap in the human formation. Instead, it triggered a cascade of electromagnetic pulses, hidden in debris fields that human guns had spent hours creating. The massive ship's sensors went dark. Impressive, isn't it? Miller said over the open channel. How something can look so random and yet be so carefully planned. Your computers probably still can't see a pattern, can they? He was right. The Dominion's eye targeting systems were still trying to analyze the battlefield using pure logic, looking for perfect formations and textbook tactics. Instead, they found a maze of deliberate mistakes and calculated errors that their programming couldn't understand. Lisa reported from her station. Sir, their fleet-wide targeting systems are failing. The interference patterns are overwhelming their ability to calculate solutions. The alien commander's voice returned, quieter now. In all our battles, across hundreds of star systems, we've never encountered a species that would choose to miss. Our computers said it was impossible, that no advanced civilization would deliberately shoot badly. That was your mistake, Miller replied. You assumed that advanced meant predictable. You thought technology alone made you superior. Another human shot slipped through the debris maze, disabling a second alien destroyer. You never considered that sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't believe exists. The Dominion fleet hung in space, their perfect formations now broken, their advanced targeting systems confused by a battlefield they couldn't understand. Their ships, designed to fight enemies who thought like machines, had no defense against an enemy who could think like humans. Your weapons were never primitive, the alien commander said slowly. Your entire strategy. It was all planned from the start. You knew our computers would see what they expected to see. We studied your previous battles, Miller explained. You always fought the same way because you always fought enemies who used the same kinds of technology. You forgot the most important rule of war. Never assume your enemy thinks like you do. The Thunder's tactical display showed the full extent of humanity's trap. The debris fields, energy distortions, and electromagnetic interference had turned space itself into a weapon. The Dominion fleet, so proud of their technology, had been defeated not by superior firepower, but by their own inability to understand human creativity. So, Miller said to the silent alien ships, "Shall we discuss the terms of your surrender?" 2 days after the battle, Miller stood in the Thunder's meeting room, watching the stars through the reinforced window. The Dominion mothership floated nearby, its once proud hull now bearing the marks of precise human shooting. The doors slid open, and the alien commander walked in. The alien was tall, with scaled skin that shimmered purple in the starlight. Its 4 eyes blinked as it studied Miller, no longer with contempt, but with curious respect. Behind it, 2 human guards stood alert but relaxed. "Your people are full of surprises, Captain Miller," the alien said, its translator making the words sound smooth. "We've spent the last 2 days studying what you did. Our best tactical AIs still can't understand it." Miller gestured to a chair, and they both sat down. "That's because your AIs are looking for the wrong thing. They're searching for perfect patterns in what looks like chaos." But there was a pattern, the alien commander said. Every missed shot, every retreat, every seemingly random movement, it was all calculated. You turned space itself into a weapon against us. Tom entered the room carrying data tablets. He placed them on the table, showing the complete battle plan. The alien commander's eyes widened as it saw the true complexity of what the humans had done. "Look here," Tom pointed to a series of apparent misses. "These shots weren't just creating debris. They were testing your shield frequencies, mapping your response patterns. Every time you thought we failed, we were actually learning." The alien picked up a tablet, studying the intricate web of planned chaos that had trapped its fleet. "Our civilization has always believed that advancement meant removing uncertainty, making everything precise and predictable. That's why you lost," Miller said quietly. "The universe isn't precise or predictable. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to be perfect. It's to understand how to use imperfection." Lisa's voice came through the intercom. "Sir, the Dominion fleet's surrender has been formally accepted by Earth Command. They're requesting permission to begin sharing technology as agreed." The alien commander placed the tablet down carefully. "You know, we came here thinking we would find primitives. Instead, we found something our technology couldn't measure: creativity. The ability to plan chaos itself." Miller smiled. "Humanity has always been good at making plans that look like mistakes. Sometimes our greatest strength is that our enemies never realize we're strong at all." Through the window, they could see repair crews working on both human and alien ships. The debris field from the battle was being cleared, each piece a reminder of how humanity's apparent weakness had become their greatest weapon. "We'll have to completely redesign our combat systems," the alien commander said. "All our assumptions about warfare, about technology, about advancement, they need to be reconsidered." "Maybe that's the real victory here," Miller replied. "Not that we won, but that both sides learned something. You learned not to underestimate apparent primitives, and we proved that sometimes the best technology isn't the most advanced. It's the most creative." The alien stood, its posture showing new respect. The Dominion has conquered 12 star systems, Captain Miller. We've fought AI-driven fleets and hive mind battleships, but we've never encountered anyone who could turn their own weakness into strength like you did. That's the thing about humans, Miller said, also standing. We've spent our entire history learning to work with our limitations, finding ways to turn disadvantages into advantages. Your technology made you predictable, but our creativity made us dangerous. As the alien commander left the room, Miller turned back to the window. In the distance, he could see the mining colony, safe and untouched. The civilian ships were starting to emerge, their crews no longer afraid of the mighty Dominion fleet. "Sir," Tom said from behind him, "Earth Command wants to know if we should begin teaching other ships our new targeting techniques." Miller watched as an alien repair crew tried to understand how simple human weapons had defeated their advanced technology. "Tell them yes," he said, "but remind them of the most important lesson. Sometimes the best way to be strong is to let your enemy think you're weak, right up until the moment you win."